between bad twin. I'm Alden, and I'm Calden. And we're here today to have an intimate conversation with Representative Credell Calhoun. That's right, Mississippi Representative Credell Calhoun. He's been with the legislature about 23 years. He's been in government about 30 years. We don't want to take it for granted that it's that easy to contact your congressman, but we just wanted to show that anybody can reach out to the congressman. You get them on the phone or email them or your state representative. That's the first place. So your state representative or your state senator. That's the first place to go before you, and then of course your Congress or your Senate. With everything going on today, like Cal said, email, text them, write them a letter, start a petition. But we wanted to show you that you can reach out and then have that type of conversation with your congressman or state representative. Make some noise, but stay tuned as we introduce Representative Calhoun. I'm Alden, and I'm Calden. And this is a between conversation with Representative Calhoun. Representative Calhoun. First of all, thank you for coming out to us.
It's my pleasure.
We're kind of doing this a little bit different today. We're going to do an informal conversation. So it's not our typical format in regards to when we got the signage and everything like that. We just wanted to do a heart-to-heart, sit-down conversation and make it in person a little bit. Just
Because of recent things that come up, Trayvon Martin case in particular, where do we go to from here? And so we've been telling our audience and friends and things like that if you want to do something positive, you want to contact your state representative, you want to contact
your congressman or senator or whatever.
Well, you're speaking specifically to the Trayvon Martin situation. That law is way beyond what it should have been, and the people of Florida must get together and contact their representatives to get that change, and particularly the minority community who's really hot to try on getting that change. They need to start calling their representatives, and they can make a difference. It's easy to get something changed if you're together. If you're trying to do it alone, it just won't work. If it's a law there that you don't like, you can get signatures and bring them to the Capitol, and if you get enough signatures, they're going to listen. There's no question about it. They will listen to you, and I think that's probably going to happen in Florida. They will get signatures from every black person in the state and in a lot of whites, because they are really upset about the stand your ground law that they have in Florida. And I'm sure that it's going to be very, very difficult to do, but it can be done if everybody's working together.
Okay, so you're saying basically one of the first steps is call, or do you do the petition first, or what are the action steps? So if
all of the above: text, email, because everybody is on email now. You email, you get church organizations, community organizations, get them all together and start a write-in campaign and texting and all of those different things that's going on, plus letters. They count too.
Okay, so instead of...
And handwritten letters. You make sure that the letters are handwritten. They read all handwritten letters.
You know what I'm saying, and I don't mean to monopolize the conversation, but I'm saying because while they were rioting, while we were all together, there would have been a perfect opportunity to have people say, pull out your personal device, your PDA, pull out your telephone, pull out, get on the internet right now, and you can go to this website or go to this email, use this email address and text, as opposed to all of the screaming and hollering.
There are a couple of groups. I want to say it's the Justice Defenders. There's a couple of groups down in Florida that are
doing that. Yeah, but you don't take away the radicals. You got gotta have that. People making noise make sense to politicians. They listen.
Explain that to me.
Well, it's always, and it ain't no, the squeaky wheel situation. They try to grease the wheel when it starts squeaking. Because that's the first thing you learn once you come in office is to take care of problems when they come up. I mean, it can be city level, county level, state level, or on the national level. It's the same thing when the wheel starts to squeak. Everybody start looking at it and trying to make it stop squeaking.
So when I get my microphone, I'll stop you from going. You know, saying because then I get to make as much noise as I want to. Just for those that are tuning in, I'm Alden and Calden. This is Mississippi Representative Credell Calhoun. He's been in the Mississippi 23 years or so. He's also been city councilman.
I've been in a little bit of everything. My wife is on the board of supervisors, so I've been at the county level, the state level, and the city level.
You did the paper, right? The paper. What was the paper? I can't remember the newspaper. Did you help start locally? The Advocate. That was.
No, that wasn't me.
I'm sorry.
We've done a lot of things, but we didn't do that.
I could not remember his name. Not shameful. But just want to talk. So, because I've heard you for years, follow you for years. I've seen you on different shows, different radio shows. Right. You know, the councilman, president of council,
Frank Blunson's. Yeah, we've been on Frank Blunson's show for years, and we bring ideas that I think the public needs to hear. And sooner or later, we'll probably be back on that with him doing the shows and bringing the messages to people.
So let's go to Mississippi with our recent change in our law. Because we're not Florida. We don't have a standing ground law as Florida does.
But we do have something that's on the table. As a matter of fact, the judge blocked it so far. So he smiled. What's your thoughts?
Well, the carry your gun law, open carry law, is a law that really should have never come to fruition. And to my thinking, once it goes into full effect, it's going to be ineffective because everybody's going to put in the law. It says if you don't want the guns on your property, all you have to do is put a sign up and they can't carry. That's right there in the law. So everybody's going to put up saying you can't carry a gun on my property. And so most people can't carry a gun because the state, city, in the capital, at the city government, all of them have signs. County, all of them have signs. You can't take it anywhere. So virtually, unless you're out in the country, you about won't be able to carry a gun anywhere in a city like that in Jackson.
So if the city could say, let's use Jackson, they could say, what about me driving along on the street? Can I?
Okay, you can walk up and down the street with it. Yeah, you can walk up and down the street, but you can't go into any private property.
Okay, now here's
what about in my car? Driving with my car.
You can have it in the car. As long as it's visible, you can have it.
So the law did pass. The judge did not. The judge was not able to hold it up anymore.
Yeah, he held it up, and it's still held up. But the fact remains, it's probably going to be law because Supreme Court, once it gets to Supreme Court, they're going to, no doubt, approve what the legislature did. See, the legislature does the legislature. If they make a law, if it's not against the Constitution, it's law. And that's what and it's up to the Supreme Court to determine whether it's in conflict with the Constitution, the United States Constitution, or the Mississippi Constitution.
It's not in conflict with the Constitution. They have
the legislature has the supreme power, and the governor can veto it, but once they pass it and he doesn't veto it, it becomes law. Without his signature, if he doesn't sign it.
Let's start from the beginning. So, like, I mean, how does it go from me as a regular day average person? I say, well, I want to now have a law that says we can't sit around tables and congregate, which is, I know that's it's a little stretch. It's a stretch, but so now what do I do?
It's just an example of what the law. All you would do was come to see Credell Calhoun or any legislature, and they would get it drafted up. And if you look at it, and if you approve of what we've done, and that's what you want, then I'd introduce it. Now, once it's introduced, it's the property of the legislature. They can change it and do anything they want to make it different or make it stronger, make it so they can't sit around in a bar, in any room, anywhere in the state. I mean, they can just change up your bill to do something almost totally different than what you started out. You don't even want it yourself by the time. Sometimes I'm just telling you how it can be done. But that's when you do that, and then it goes to committee. And then the committee sends it to a subcommittee. And the subcommittee, if they pass it out, it goes to full committee and then to the full House. Sometimes it might go to two committees. And it will have to get out of one committee and then go to the next committee. Many times it's two committees. Especially if it's revenue. It's going to go to the committee that generally handles that kind of bill, and it's going to go to a revenue committee. And that way, it has double checks. Make sure that it's okay before it comes out and it gets on the floor. And once it passes the floor, then it goes over to the other body, the other chamber. And then it starts all over there in the committee, subcommittee, and then once it passes there, if it passes there, it's the same as in the House. It goes to the governor. But if they change one word, it has to come back to the House to be approved. That one word has to be approved. And if it's not approved, they go to Congress. And then they appoint 3 people from each committee each House to go to Congress. And then you have to have at least 2 of those persons from each House to approve the language that they come up with together. And that's the way it's done. And then the governor sends it to the governor, and of course he can veto it. If he vetoes it, then you have to have at least a 2/3 vote of each House to override its veto.
Well, the only reason why I want to go through that again is because we talk about whether or not we talk about the open carry law in Mississippi, or whether or not we talk about the stand your ground in Florida. A lot of people, you get outraged, but they don't know how to turn the anger into action outside of just, I'm angry and I want to rock.
And now we know that now we know squeaky.
Yeah, we want them to stay in the street. It's got, because it excites people to do the other things that needs to be done, like sending text messages to, or emailing or writing letters. All of that's generated through the excitement that's created out there.
Well, what about with Governor Scott saying that he was not, even if something the legislation was brought, he was not supporting legislation
To change.
even with the outcry from the community? So you still recommend they continue?
They continue. You continue. And it doesn't make any difference who the politician is. They can say anything public, but it doesn't mean anything. Whatever they say is for that day. Tomorrow, if the heat's too hot, they change it. The squeaky wheels will get them changed. And a lot of signatures, and especially what he's playing to, and I can tell you, he's playing to those folks. It's a majority of the people in Florida right now that still want that law because of the crime and all of the things that's happening. They want this stand your ground law.
I agree to a degree with the law in the fact that it allows the person me to protect my stuff.
I think it should have some modifications to it.
I agree it does have some modifications. I do.
It needs changing. It definitely needs changing. And if everybody keeps working on it, it will be changed. Because Trayvon Martin is going to be, as far as this kind of law, he's going to be the Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, and all those that Emmett Till, especially Emmett Till. Yeah. You can compare that one as far as laws that's been spread across the country like that, and it's going to his death is going to help this out.
I want to talk before we go get started about the practical side of the Mississippi law while we're in Mississippi with open carry. The reason I brought it up is because if I'm out on the street, I got my open carry, I'm open carry, you open carry, we get into a conflict. I know you're big on conflict resolution. We don't do our conflict resolution skills, and we want to exchange. This law does not cover you if we have an altercation.
If you have an altercation,
Or he robbed. And
he has an open carry gun, the fact is, you can carry the gun, but you can't break the law with the gun.
I just want to make sure. I thought that too. I read nothing. Our law has nothing to do, not even to White Castle, Texas, the Castle laws, or the standing ground. It's not even close.
No, this is just dealing with carrying a gun. Now, what they said is they were trying to bring it into compliance with the Constitution, and but I think they were trying to correct the gun law that you have on the book already as far as concealed. To get permits, and they were just trying to clear it up, and they blew it. That's what I think. They really didn't understand exactly what they were doing, but after it was done, it was real popular in certain segments of the population, and so they want to act like they knew what they were doing, and they did it, and they intended to. Because I can tell you, there were several people who signed on to the law that didn't know what it is. They were sponsors of it and didn't have a clue. And they, at this point, they can't back up even though they want to.
I was going to say, I pronounce the gentleman's name, but I hate to mispronounce his name. That's always what I say.
Ramarly Graham?
Right, Ramarly Graham, case out of New York. Right, out of New York. And the reason why I say that is because it brings me to mind that situation. Because, a lot of people after the Trayvon Martin case situation, it happened at the same time. Right, did not take, this particular case didn't take as much national attention, or garner its national attention, but I was thinking that this is good information to know so that persons in that area could also go and effectively do, like you said, in terms of tweets, email, or whatever, so then they could get the result they need in New York as well. Because I think it's across the nation. We have a lot of countless and senseless things that go on that we get upset about, but then don't know how to react to.
If we do it in Florida, it will probably spread across the nation. And this is where it started. I gave an example, the Emmett Till situation, and it will correct some of the laws that's been spreading across. It would turn it around. I think because of Trayvon Martin, we're going to have a lot of those laws tweaked. That's what we call it. And we otherwise are going to correct some of the ills of the laws in different states that's been passed recently because of crime. That's why they passed the law, because of crime.
Right, you have to give them credit. At least they're trying to tackle crime. But
what they don't know what to do. They're just doing something and hope that it works. Now, I have to admit, we have passed the young man that got killed breaking in the car over in North Jackson.
I'm apologize.
Now,
I know it's an-
I sponsored the law, I sponsored the bill that gave him the authority to do that. Because people in my district was jumping up and down, wanting something done because of the crime. They wanted something to say, look, give us something that we can deal with. So I sponsored a bill to give them a little more authority, because at one point,
Authority, right, I was going to ask you, what is the authority to do specifically?
at one point, when a person would, let's say you would kill somebody at your house, you would have to drag him inside your house.
Right. That's what the whole council and standing ground, that's the spirit behind those laws.
Yeah, but they went way too far.
They went too far.
And but our law, it says if you breaking in, if I'm in a car and you breaking in the car, I can blow you away. Now, if you breaking in my house, you can be outside. You breaking in, I don't have to pull you in. As long as I feel that you have some danger to my personally, that's going to be a real problem to try to get somebody to convict, a jury to convict me, and the law says I can do this. So the law enforcement is not going to even press charges against you, no doubt, because the law specifically said, and like I told you now, the legislature has the power to do these laws, and they give the citizens the power to take care of themselves as best they can, and that's what all of this is about.
Was there something that you wanted to share with us? Did you have anything specific that you perhaps wanted to discuss?
I just think that the Trayvon, the stand your ground law has gone too far, and many of the others have gone also overboard. And what needs to be done nationwide is to go back and tweak these laws and try to at least get them around the areas what we've done here in Mississippi, except for the county. We don't want that.
At least
we don't want that anywhere.
Yeah, but at least we lead the way.
Yeah, the law that we passed is really good enough for the rest of the country to look at.
Right. I'm glad you said that, because again, like you said, we lead the way in something in the city, of Jackson, state of Mississippi.
The state of Mississippi has a good law for the people and to deter criminals. And an example was the one that we were talking about that happened, which was a friend of mine's grandson, and he just should not have been involved in a situation like that. It's just not good to get up and start breaking into someone's car or house. You can get killed doing that, and nothing can be done about it because the law allows a person to protect themselves and their property.
Right, and rightfully so. We're not suggesting that. We're not authorizing crime. We don't suggest that the laws protect the. But we're not saying there should be a vigilante laws out there. Right. Everything should be in balance and check. And we're going to close. You got some cap, but we're going to close it out. I really appreciate your time. Like I said, we just want to have show people we're just regular guys, and we value your service. We value your time. We got great amount of respect for your county privilege that to be able to sit down and spend time with you. Your seasoning and wealth. We wish you much success, but we don't take it for granted. It's not as easy as you think to just call up a representative and get him to sit down and talk. So we really appreciate it, but they are accessible. You can reach them, you can contact them, and start the process. And I can see. Okay, make the noise, make a lot of noise.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
So I can see y'all, those of y'all that follow us know. The squeaky wheel. Okay, so continue to do what you do. But thank you for your time. Thank you, and we will appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good.